Good day. I am discussing the scope of raw dried seaweeds. This standard prescribes quality specifications and food safety requirements of raw dried seaweeds belonging to phylum Chlorophyta, the green seaweed, Ochrophyta, the brown seaweed, and lastly the Rhodophyta, the red seaweeds, such as but not limited to ova, sargassum, Gracilaria, Capapicus, and Eucheuma denticulatum. Capapicus and E. denticulatum are commercially known as cottony and spinosum respectively. As you can see in the screen, we have a lot of normative references from raw dried seaweeds. This, and this. Those are the normative references in raw dried seaweeds. Definition of terms, we have the adulteration, brown seaweed, bulk sample, class, contaminant, green seaweed. For adulteration, intentional act of additions or mixing of any substances that will increase its bulk or weight for unscrupulous economic gain or increase in profit, such as the addition of commercial salt. For brown seaweed, it light or dark brown in color, characterized by the presence of chlorophylls and focusantine. For bulk sample, combination or mixture of primary samples taken with a sample device. Class, designation of raw dried seaweed, quality according to the established government standard thereof. Contaminant, any biological or chemical agents and residue, heavy metal, foreign matter, or other substances not intentionally added to raw dried seaweed, which may compromise food safety and suitability for its intended use. The green seaweed, it light or dark green in color, characterized by the presence of chlorophylls. Impurities, debris, laboratory sample quantity, lot, moisture content amount, primary sample, purity. For impurities or debris, other seaweeds, plastic materials, fragments of soft plastic tie or ties, nylon rope, and styrofoam fragments, wood, dirt, coralline particles, crustaceans, and molluscan shells, other invertebrates, sand, and other foreign matters. For laboratory sample quantity, seaweed removed from the bulk sample intended for analysis or other examinations. For lot, composed of seaweed belonging the same species intended to be uniform in characteristic and has undergone similar post-harvest treatment. For moisture content amount of water present in the dried seaweeds expressed as percentage. For primary sample, small quantity of seaweed taken from a bag or bale in a particular lot. For purity, classification of raw dried seaweeds as monospecies, congeneric, or mixture of genera. Raw dried seaweed, red seaweed, and lastly, we have the seaweed. So for raw dried seaweed, it is freshly harvested, clean seaweed that is either sun or air dried. For red seaweed, color ranges from green, red, brown, yellow, orange, or purple to black. It is characterized by the presence of chlorophylls and phycobilly proteins. And lastly, seaweed. It is microscopic algae belonging to phylum Chlorophyta, Ochrophyta, and Rhodophyta. It is also applies to species both with food and non-food application.
Hi everyone, I'll be explaining the standards and classification for raw dried seaweeds based on the Philippine National Standard. So let's start with the requirements. Raw dried seaweed should only come from one species. It shouldn't be mixed with others. For Capophycus and Eucheuma, they must come from farms and be matured, meaning they've been cultured for at least 45 days before drying. Other types like Gracilaria, Sargassum, and Ulva also need to follow proper rules from BFAR and other national regulation to make sure they harvested and dried correctly. So next, now let's look at the table. This shows the standard or limits for different kinds of seaweed. Things like moisture, impurities, salt, sand, and color. For example, Gracilaria should have 16 to 18 moisture and purple color. So the second one is Eucheuma, then Ticalatum and Capophycus should have 35 to 38 moisture and can range from purple to brown. So the third one is Sargassum is usually dark brown and Ulva is light green. So these standards make sure the dried seaweeds is clean, properly dried, and not mixed with other materials. And now for classification. Seaweeds are grouped into Class A, B, and C based on quality. So for Capophycus, Class A is the best quality with up to 35% moisture, fewer impurities, and dried for 3 to 5 days. So Class B has a bit more moisture and may include some mixed species, dried for 6 to 7 days. And the last one is Class C, has lower purity, mixed general, and is dried for more than 7 days. So this grading helps identify which seaweeds are premium quality and which ones are lower grade. Lastly, we have Eucheuma denticulatum, which follows the same grading system. For the Class A, has the lowest moisture at 33%, and for Class B can go up to 35%, and Class C up to 38%. So all must still meet the limits for impurities, salt, and sand, and come from seaweeds culture from at least 45 days. And let's now talk about tolerance and contaminants part of the standard for dried seaweeds. So first, under tolerance, this means that before dried seaweeds can be shipped or sold, a 1 kilogram sample from batch need to be tasted. This sample is checked for moisture content, impurities, salt, and sand. If the result meet the allowed limits, then the whole shipment can be approval for trade. So basically, this step makes sure the seaweed is clean, properly dried, and safe to use before it leaves the farm factory. So next is contaminants. This rule says that the seaweed must meet the maximum residue levels or MRLS set by the Codex Alimentarius Commission or the other authorities. In simple terms, this means the product must be free from harmful chemicals or substance that could be dangerous to consumers. So in short, both of these parts ensure that our dried seaweeds is safe, clean, and high quality. before it reaches the market. So to sum it up, these standards help make sure that our dried seaweeds are clean, safe, and high quality, ready for local use or export. So they also help farmers, traders maintain good quality, control and keep the Philippines seaweed industry competitive worldwide. Thank you for listening my report.
My topic is all about hygiene and handling. So, the product should be prepared following the Sanitation Standard Operating Procedure or SSOP of Presidential Decree number 856 series of 1975 Code on Sanitation of the Philippines and processed under hygienic condition in according with the FDA or DOH revised rule and regulation governing the labeling of packaging food product distributed in the Philippines, FDA regulation number 2014 0030 and its future amendments. The products covered by the provision of the standard should be prepared and handled in accordance with the following relevant codex standards such as Codex Code of Practice for Fishery and Fishery Product, Codex Guideline on the Application of General Principles of Food Hygiene to the Control of Viruses in Food, Codex Guideline on the Application of General Principles of Food Hygiene to the Control of Pathogenic Vibrio species in seafood, Codex General Principle of Food Hygiene CACRCP 1969. So next is packaging, labeling, and storage. So packaging. Seaweed should be packed in appropriate containers that will adequately protect the product from the normal hazard of transportation and handling. The product should be packed in appropriate food grade material which are clean and free from foreign matter of contaminant. Product should not be packed in bulk with mixed species. So, labeling. The product should include pertinent instruction for use such as proper storage, preparation, and cooking as indicated in the provision of the Codex General Standard. For the labeling of prepackaged food and the revised rule and regulation governing the labeling of prepackaging food product distributed in the Philippines, and its future amendments. The trader and the farmer should label each pack balled sack with the following information if appropriate. So mao ni siya ang trader or kanang buyer nga na source sa product sa mga species, then sila ang ganabutang og pila ni ka kilo, then ang mga farmer kay source po sila sa product, then sila ang kuan sa pila pud ka kilo ni nga product. So retain package container each retain product package if applicable should be labeled and marked with the following information. The name of the product should be raw, dried, and the corresponding English or common local name with its scientific name in parentheses. Example, raw, dried, cottony. The product may be called by other common local names provided such as name are accepted in the country of distribution. The net content by weight in the metric system and or number of species, the net weight based on the system of measurement required by importing countries should appear in parentheses after the metric net weight. The label should that the product should be stored under condition to maintain the best quality during transport, storage, and distribution. The name and address of either of the following: manufacturer, packer, distribution, importer, exporter, or vendor. The lot identification code number 9226, the word product of the Philippines. The pictorial presentation of the product on the label should not mislead the consumer with respect to the product so illustrated. The words best followed by the day, month, year as far as practicable, indicating end of the period at which the product shall retain optimum quality attributes as stated storage condition. Non-retail container information on the above provision should be given either on the container or in accompanying documents except that the name of the product, lot identification, and the name and address of the manufacturer or packer as well as storage instruction should appear on the container. However, the lot identification and the name and address of the manufacturer or packer may be replaced by an identification mark provided, such as mark is clearly identifiable with the accompanying documents. Storage. Keep the packed seaweed in secure dry storage. Sampling. Sampling method to be used for ascertaining conformance to the requirements of this specification should be accordance with Annex D. Defective. The sample unit should be considered as defective when exhibit any properties defined below. Impurity. The presence in the sample unit or impurify other than salt and sand or more than 3%. Higher moisture content, that presence in the sample unit of moisture content or more than 35 to 38% for Kappa picus SSP and Euchima denticulata. Higher salt as KCI content, the presence in the sample unit of salt as KCI of more than 25% of Kappa picus SSP, and that 20% is Euchima denticulata. That's all.
For the dried sea cucumber, the scope is this standard prescribes safety and quality requirements of dried sea cucumber intended for further processing. The species of sea cucumber covered in this standard are presented but not limited to the species listed in Annex A. For the definition of terms, we have cleaning, clean water, container, contaminant, drying, food additive. For cleaning, removal of gut, contents, dirt, and other extraneous matter adhering to the raw material through washing with clean water. For clean water from any source where harmful microbiological contamination substances and or toxic plankton are not present in such quantities that may affect the health quality of fish, shellfish, and their products. For container, any packaging of food for delivery as a single item, whether by completely or partially enclosing the food and include wrappers. A container may include several units or types of packages when such is offered to the consumer. For contaminant, any biological or chemical agent, foreign matter, or other substances not intentionally added to food that may compromise food safety or suitability. Drying, process in which the moisture content is reduced using appropriate drying methods, which may include sun drying, smoke, or drying under controlled conditions to the required level as specified in Table 1. And for food additive, any substances not normally consumed as a food by itself and not normally used as a typical ingredients of the food, whether or not it has nutritive value. The intentional additions of which food for a technological purpose in the manufacture, processing, preparation, treatment, packing, packaging, transport, or holding of such food results, or may be reasonably expected to result in it or its byproduct becoming a component for otherwise affecting the characteristic of foods. The term that does not include substances added to food for maintaining or improving nutritional qualities. Good manufacturing practices or GMP, hazard, ingredient, labeling, lot. For good manufacturing practices, a quality assurance system aim at ensuring that products are consistently manufactured, packed, repacked, or held to a quality appropriate for the intended use. It is thus concerned with both manufacturing and quality control procedures. Hazard, a biological, chemical, or physical agent in or condition of food with the potential to cause an adverse health effect. The 3.9. So, ingredient. Any substance including food additive used as a component in the manufacture or preparation of food and present in the final product in its original or modified from 3.10. Label. Any tag, brand, mark, pictorial, or other descriptive matter written, printed, marked, embossed, or impressed on or attached to a container food. Labeling includes any written, printed, or graphic matter that is present on the label, accompanies the food, or is displayed near the food, including that for the purpose of promoting its sale or disposal. For lot, a definitive quantity of a commodity produced essential under the same conditions. Packaging, retail, and lastly, the sea cucumber. For packaging, it is the process of packing that is part of the production cycle applied to bulk product to obtain the finished product. Any material including printed material employed in the packaging of product, including any outer packaging used for transportation of shipment. Packaging materials are referred to as a primary or secondary according to whether or not they are intended to be in direct contact with the product. For retail means an operation that stores or prepare, pack, serves, or otherwise provides fish, shellfish, and their products directly to the consumer, who prepares them for human consumption. This may be free-standing seafood, markets, seafood sections in groceries or department stores. Products sold may be packed, chilled, or frozen, and or full service. And for the last, Sea cucumber, any echinoderm, generally having soft elongated body and bearing clusters of tentacles at the oral end. As you can see in the table, we have the different kinds of sea cucumber. Naa sila kuan scientific name, local name, English name. So, ang known naman gid sa tuwa is ang local name di ba nila. Then makaingon ta nga na ang sea cucumber kay balat. So, na siya lain-lain nga klase nga balat. So, na siya, di ba na ikatong balat ng hanginan nga once pagkuha nimo sa dagat dayon mahanginan siya sa kaning wala na siya sa dagat, di ba malanay man gid na siya. So, nadyoy mga technique para pagkuha ninyo ng balat hanginan, idukduk sa gid na ninyo siya, ayhan nimo siya isulod sa iyong sudlanan. Then we have a lot of sea cucumber in the table.
So our topic, it's all about the dried sea cucumber. So before I start my task assigned, so I give you some idea what is dried sea cucumber, the introductions of the sea cucumber. So sea cucumber is often called sunfish or marine animals related to starfish and sea urchins. Sea cucumber live on the sea floor near the corals, reefs, and seagrass beds. So, ang sea cucumber po ay gitawag na siyang balatan, the common terms in the Philippines. And then, balat in Tagalog and Bisaya terms. Also, tripang is a loan word, means borrowing that has been taken from one language in both of Indonesian and Tagalog. Balati, another variation that is also used. So, ang sea cucumber kay makita di siya na dito dapit sa mga benthic zone. Benthic zone means the ecological region at the lowest level of a body of water, such as examples, the ocean, the lake, or stream. And then, ang kasagara na kinakain ng mga sea cucumbers kay mo ni siya ang gitawag na depress. Depress means kalat or kanang hugaw sa bottom of the oceans. So, ang sea cucumber po di ay kay high demand ni siya from east to southeast Asia. And then they live also for 5 to 10 years. And then the sea cucumbers in Indian kay is a treated as an endangered species. Mo na ilang kanang marabitong paniniwala bitaw nila. So and that's all. So I will go to my task assigned. It's all about the product descriptions. Product definition. The product is a dried sea cucumber, which is stone hard, free from dirt, sand, and another foreign matter, packaged and labeled in the accordance. The clause 9. So, dali ra man gyud siya masabtan no kapag basta magud makaingon ta na dried na siya ng mga product bitaw. So makakuan gyud ta na ayang texture gyud kay stone hard and also free from dirt, so dali ra siya mahugawan gyud kay kanang exposed man gyud siya. So next is the process definition. Dried sea cucumber is generally processed from live or fresh raw materials that may include the following. Number 1 is the cleaning, unsaon nimo siya paglimpyo, and the next is the cooking in clean water with or without salt. Next is the removing of speculus. Also, before pala nila kinakain yung sea cucumber kay naa sila'y tangtangon dito sa internal organs sa sea cucumber katong gitawag nilang holothurine. Holothurine means kanang toxic na siya, poison na siya. So dili pwede mo kaon ang mga dili man sa maingon nato na dili sila pwede mo kaon, pero dili pwede masubraan ang pagkaon sa mga taong naabitay mga allergic sa mga shelf life ing ana kay tungod manggod sa katong toxin sa sea cucumber. Next is the soaking in the water with or without salt, and then drying and packaging. Next is the essential composition and quality factor. The basic ingredients, the raw material. So only live or fresh sea cucumber weighing not less than 320 grams shall be used for processing. Fresh sea cucumber may be shelled or frozen. So na ba may idea nga no ang sea cucumber kay dili pwede moubos yang gramo sa 320 grams kay tungod manggod sa kuan. Kung muubos manggod ang timbang sa sea cucumber, moabot siya o kanang less than 320 grams. So ang reason ana niya kay kuan manggod ang pag-process bitaw o paglimpyo bitaw sa mga sea cucumber. So kung gagmay ilang makuha na ma-harvest na mga sea cucumber, so kanang bitaw murag lugi kay sila. So mo na mas better ang ilang ma-harvest ng mga sea cucumber katong mga dako siya kay tungod sa kung dako manggod ang sea cucumber so kung dako mga sea cucumber no balag dako ang so kung dako manggod ang sea cucumber kay mas mahal sila kaysa sa katong mga gagmay na mga sea cucumber. So at least bahalag dako ay mahal ang katong pagproseso paglimpyo sa mga sea cucumber. So binatra siya if ang ilang mga sea cucumber na ma-harvest kay katong mga dako. Next is mo na di ay no ang reason nga no dili pwede moubos ang dili moubos ang gramo sa sea cucumber less than the 320 grams. Next is the optional ingredients. All another ingredients used shall be of food grade, quality, and conform to all applicable standard. Next is the plant product. The final product shall conform to physico-chemical requirement shown in the table 1. Mo na siya ang example. Table 1, the physico-chemical requirements of dry sea cucumber. Iyang naadiri ang characteristic niya and requirements. Naadiri ang moisture content, and then sodium chloride, and then acid insoluble ash length. So the final product shall exhibit the following sensory properties: the color and shape characteristic of the species used, and the clean and free from visible dirt and another foreign matter, and the stone hard. Next is the food additives. Food additives when used shall in accordance with the regulation as prescribed by the Food and Drug Administrations or gitawag ni siyang FDA and are based on the context generally standard for food additives codex stand 192 to 1995. Next is contaminant. The dry sea cucumber product shall comply with the maximum level of the contaminant as specified in the context general standard for contaminations and toxin in the food and feeds. Next is the hygiene and handling. The dry sea cucumber product shall be prepared and processed under hygienic conditions in accordance with the Department of Health revised the guidelines on the current good manufacturing practice and manufacturing, packaging, repackaging, or holding food, or gitawag din siya DOH, Administrative Order number 153 to 2004. It's a future amendments and the following conducts recommended codes of practices. The last one is the packaging and labeling. So, packaging, dirito sa packaging. So, the product shall be packed in the appropriate food grade container. The individual retail or bulk container shall contain only 1 species. Next is labeling. The product shall be labeled according to provisions of Codex General Standard for labeling of pre-packaged foods, and the Department of Health rules and regulations governing the level of pre-packaged food product distributed in the Philippines, or gitawag din siya DOH, Administrative Order number 8288B 1984, and it's a future amendments. And that's all. Thank you.
So what is dried and sea cucumber? Sea cucumber, also known as balat or bat, at some parts of the Philippines, are marine animals with leathery skin and elongated body. They are echinoderms belonging to the same group as starfish and sea urchins. So what is it? Dried cucumber is the process from a sea cucumber that have been harvested and cleaned, boiled, and dried, preserved them. Here appearance. They typically appear shrivelled and hard, ranging in color from light to black, so light brown to black. So here's the preparation. So how to preparation. So first is harvesting. So harvesting sea cucumber are harvested from seabed by divers or collected from shallow waters during low tide. Next is cleaning. Cleaning the sea cucumber are thoroughly cleaned to remove sand, mud, and any internal organs. So the third one is boiling. So what is boiling? Boiling, they are then boiled in large vats of water. This process can be repeated multiple times. Next one is drying. So what is drying? Drying, the boiled sea cucumber are dried under the sun or an industrial dryers until they are completely dehydrated. So here's the uses. So muna siya ang gipang gamit. So culinary ingredient. Primarily used as an ingredient in ocean cuisine, particularly in Chinese dishes. Next one is texture and flavor. Known for its unique, slightly chewy texture and ability to absorb flavors from other ingredients. It is often braised, stewed, or added to sauce. Next one is popular dishes. So what is popular dishes? Popular dishes used in dishes like sea cucumber, soup, braised, and sea cucumber with vegetables, and stir-fried dishes. Next one is traditional. So what is traditional? Medicine. Health, muna siya ang mga traditional medicines. First one is health benefits. Believed to have medicinal properties in a traditional Chinese medicine. So here's the uses. So uses used to treat ailments such as arthritis, joint pain, and high blood pressure. So that muna siya ang uses. So next one is nutritional value. So nutritional value, rich in high protein, collagen, and minerals like calcium and magnesium. Low N. So low N is low in fat and carbohydrates. So economic importance. So What is economic importance? High demand in ocean markets, making it valuable commodity export. Many coastal and communities rely on sea cucumber harvesting and processing as source of income. So next one is price. The price of dried sea cucumber can vary widely depending on the species, size, and quality. So nakadepende ra gid na siya, no? So the last one is sustainability and concern. The next one. So the next one is sustainability and concerns. So sustainability is overfishing. So when you say overfishing, had led to the depletion of sea cucumber population in many regions. So next one is regulations. What is regulation? Sustainable harvesting practices and regulations are necessary to ensure that the long-term viability of sea cucumber fisheries. So next one is aquaculture. So what is aquaculture? Aquaculture, sea cucumber farming or aquaculture is being explored as a way to meet demand while reducing pressure on wild populations. So here the local perspective. So Philippines, local consumption, while not as widely consumed as in other Asian countries, sea cucumber is delicacy in some regions and of the Philippines. Livelihood. So many coastal communities in Philippines depend on sea cucumber harvesting as a primary source of livelihood. So conservation efforts. So what is conservation efforts? There are increasing efforts to promote sustainable harvesting practices and project sea cucumber populations in the Philippine waters. So here's the conclusion. So the conclusion, dried sea cucumber is valuable marine product with significant culinary, medicinal, and economic importance. However, its sustainability is threatened by overfishing, making sustainable harvesting practices and conservation efforts and crucial for its long-term viability.